Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Take One Given Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about my journey so far as a black belt. I had a couple questions on how I feel, how I felt, and how it's going. So I thought, why not go ahead and give that update? I'm running on very low sleep, but I'm still here for it. So before we get into that, today I obviously want to shout out Pendentify. Pendentify taking any logo or picture and make it into a high quality piece of jewelry. Look at that. Boom. Shout out Pendentify. Check them out, pendentify.com. And then obviously we got War Athletics. Shout out War Athletics. Let's see if we can get the logos in there. Boom. Shout out Bly's Grappling in Shelbyville. Shout out to everyone out there trying to make it big. And shout out everybody out there surviving. So go get yourself some jewelry from Pendentify. Go check out War Athletics. Get some clothing or a cup or a mug or a book bag or whatever you're looking for. Get it done. And then obviously, if you want some jiu-jitsu, if you want to practice jiu-jitsu, if you want any private lessons, hit me up. We can get something going for you. With that said, let's get into today's episode. All right. So, black belt. I've been officially a black belt for 3 months. I've assisted with a seminar. I've gone to classes. I've taught classes. I've gone to other schools and, been a part of the classes. I've done all kinds of things, right? But I'll tell you what, there's a couple of feelings that I got from being a black belt that I didn't expect. One key one is I was asked if I feel any different now that I have a black belt, right? And the answer is yeah, actually I do. And it's not the type of different that you would expect. So obviously coming up in jiu-jitsu, everyone always sets goals, right? You set minor goals and major goals. Well, one of my goals was always to be a black belt, which is pretty normal. But think of it this way. I've got a newfound respect for anyone that makes it to that black belt level. I truly don't. How can I put this? I don't envy those who get their black belt and have only chased the belt itself. It has to be a very, very crappy feeling. And don't get me wrong, I've won a black belt since the day I started. I mean, that was generally the goal, is to get a black belt. But with that, when you set that kind of goal, the expectations are different, right? Because when you start, you think about, oh, when I get a black belt, I'm going to be this unbeatable person. You're going to be like, you're going to get some kind of magical powers from it, or you have this scenario that plays in your head where you just think that's like the peak of martial arts, especially in our own martial art, right? But for those who just chase the belt, to know what it feels like with all the time and all the effort and all the learning and sacrifices and all the things that I gave up and all the hard times that could have been easier. I mean, let's just be honest. I could have had a way simpler lifestyle and way easier path for different kinds of success. But for those who get their black belt and it's like they pay for it, or they're kind of handed it, easily, and it's not, whether it be, and this varies. Like, this is no one in particular. This is just a thought process that I had because of when I got my jiu-jitsu black belt, I I didn't even expect it. I mean, obviously, if you know me, you've seen the video. I was wearing a fucking ugly sweater, an ugly Christmas sweater. Not what I expected to be wearing when I got my black belt. You know, not exactly the way I pictured any of that going. But whenever I got my black belt, I had a feeling of like, oh my God, like this really happening? I was confused, happy, emotional. I felt a feeling of accomplishment, but also a feeling of, oh, this is it. This is it right here. And then it sits and it settles, and then it's like a whole new, like weight on my shoulders as a weight that I've been carrying for like a decade and a half is lifted. There's like a new type of weight on my shoulders and a new feeling of responsibility and, a feeling of being entrusted with something like that it's special. It's almost scary sometimes, but you know, whenever, again, going back to the people that just pay for belts and like chase only the belt, and that's their primary goal is to get the belt. Whenever you get your jiu-jitsu black belt and you haven't really like worked that hard for it, not to say that a person that gets their black belt, not everyone that gets their black belt is doing that, like not everyone else, but like if you didn't work for that, it's gonna show. And the feeling, I just can't even imagine it. I know it's hard to like really put into words, but the feeling of just knowing that that's not what you are, like you're not ready for that responsibility. You're not ready for that responsibility, and I get it. Like when you're a black belt or even a brown belt, when you're rolling, you're being judged pretty hard, whether we want to admit it or not. You're being judged on how good you are, what your skill level is. People are like, is this guy really a brown belt? And if you have that ego about you, and true ego, not pride. I have a lot of pride. I'm very proud of all my accomplishments and all of my years of jiu-jitsu. But again, I'm not afraid to tap. And those select few that I'm talking about that do get the jiu-jitsu black belt without putting in the work, the feeling that it's going to be, that you're going to have when you go out there and you're getting, you're getting beat by these young guys that are in great shape, white, blue belts that are, college wrestlers, or, even in shape purple belt that has, 20 years on you of youth and could just move. Like it's, it's to be expected. You're going to have hard rounds with those kinds of people. Obviously, there's levels to everybody and there's levels to everything. And, I don't know. I can't imagine how it would feel to have gotten my black belt. Let's say like 7 years ago, like, coming up onto or how about this, right at the 10-year mark. A lot of people average 10 years before their black belt. If I would have got it at that 10-year mark, I genuinely wouldn't have known nearly as much jiu-jitsu as I do now. And the feeling of like inadequacy would would have ate at me more than now. I know that I'm good at jiu-jitsu. I know that I know jiu-jitsu, and I'm very comfortable with it now, but I've done a lot of work these last 5 years. A lot of growing, a lot of understanding how to relay information, which makes it stick in my head so much better than it did before. I mean, obviously, I can always use muscle memory, quote unquote, to get through matches or doing things, but to be able to convey that information is huge. And I just feel like those people that don't don't work for those things, it's got to be torture. you know it's got to be really bad, and then you're going to get ridiculed if you get caught. Um you're going to get, I mean, basically picked on. People will drag you through the mud if you get caught being a fake black belt. And even if you're a legit black belt, like, I know people that look at me and I'm way out of shape right now. I got a life. I got a daughter. I have a family. I have all these things that I do all day long. I have a full-time job. you know, I I don't have the time that I did when I was younger to do the things that I did, right? And I can't sacrifice quite as much time like I used to. So it's expected to be a little out of shape. Now, right now, obviously, I'd come off of um, quite a bit of little injuries. So it was like, that plus starting a new work from home job. It was like, it's a lot going on. But to see the comments, oh, you're a black belt. If you're a black belt and you can't, what was the comments? I can't remember. I know there's a guy up north recently that I am actually kind of a fan of this particular guy, and it kind of sucks to hear them say these things, but there's a lot of people that agreed, and it's just like, if you're a black belt and you weigh, whatever above what you weighed at when you were competing, like, your black belt's useless, like this and that and that shit. Like, those things kind of bugged me early on. They really did bug me, and it kind of sucked. But then I realized, I'm like, I'm not at that expectation of, I'm not trying to be a world beater in jiu-jitsu. I'm not trying to be a multiple time world champion. I'm not doing that for those reasons anymore. When I was younger, I loved to compete, and uh I love to just go to war, really, with anybody. Um and everybody that grew up in jiu-jitsu with me at the places that I trained know they know that, when I was doing it, I was doing it, and I was doing it well. So, uh, you know, I know where I'm at, and I know where I'm at, or where I was, but to see all these, things that, um, even early on, I was letting things, get through to me as, in my head, a black belt that, worked for everything that he has. I just couldn't imagine the latter. I couldn't imagine the feeling of, you finally get that belt, and then it's just, now what? It's going to be the feeling. I can only imagine that's what it feels like. Just empty, like an empty room, like you won $1 million, but the $1 million has to go to a house, and the house only has 2 rooms. One's a bathroom, and one's just wide open space, but there's nothing in it, and you can't put anything in it until you slowly make additions to that thing. Like, that's what it's got to feel like. It's just got to be, I don't know. It's got to be really, really crazy. And again, I'm not trying to shit on anyone in particular. I'm just saying, like, chase knowledge, chase the fun of jiu-jitsu, chase the thrill and the learning and the rolling and the losing and the winning and all of it. Chase all of it, but don't chase that belt. This is nothing. And for those of you who are just listening, I'm holding up a jiu-jitsu black belt. I got this black belt right here came with a sponsored gi. So like I got a free belt that came with my gi, this black belt here. I'll never wear this belt. It's probably going to go in a display case, probably with the rest of my belts. I'm probably going to get a new shadow box, put them all together. But this belt does nothing. This is nothing. And I hope that somebody who is going through, the journey hears this and they understand, like, the belt's amazing. It's nothing and everything at the same time. It's everything because when you reach that particular point, you feel that culmination of everything you've worked so hard for, and it's there. But then it's not over. It keeps going. And I mean, I don't know. It feels like it's going to keep going indefinitely for the rest of my life. And that belt doesn't define me. It defines time that I've put into something. It doesn't define what it has given me. And I think that's really the big difference that I see in those two scenarios. So don't chase the belt. Get good at actual jiu-jitsu. You're going to do great if you just focus on the real jiu-jitsu, right? I can wear karate red belt and go out there and nothing's going to change. I'm going to do the exact same as if I was wearing the black belt that was given to me by my instructor. And that's just the truth. So if you're not good, get good. That's it. And if you're good and you're injured, do what you can with what you got. Because I still go out there. I can't even move my left thumb. Like, it hurts. It's bad. And you don't realize how much you use your thumb until you can't use it. So, yeah. Anyway, moving forward. 3 months in, I've went to a seminar here in Urbana, a little ways away from me here in Urbana. And, I expected to do the seminar. I was trying to show support, trying to go out there and have a good showing. Just be, just be there, right? It was something that I was very excited for, something that I hadn't done since getting my black belt. And it turned out I was assisting in the seminar. So, being a black belt, I was entrusted in going around and helping the room, kind of get stuff going. The John, who was running the seminar, had both hips replaced. So he showed the techniques. Obviously he's not able to get up, down, move around as quick as he once could. And, I was there to help. So anybody that had questions, they'd come around, they'd wave, and I'd walk over. Those things were cool. It was cool to, like, see that level of, for lack of a better term, respect, and it gets weird sometimes. Like, I'm not a very formal jiu-jitsu guy. I don't make people bow. I don't make people call me sensei, professor, master, none of that stuff. My name's Jose. If you want to call me coach, you can call me coach. But I've had rooms where, like, they've, like, professor, and they stop, they look at me, and they, like, bow, and I'll do it. Obviously, I'm not an asshole, but it's so strange to me. It's like, I like being a black belt because it shows perseverance. It shows, that grit that I had to withstand all that. But at the same time, like, sometimes it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, that's kind of that's another glory of no-gi. Like, there's no expectation. You're either good or you're not, right? Uh, in the gi, it's like there's so much riding on, you got a target on your back because they want to make sure that they show you, uh, I'm good, I'm good. Watch, watch. And it's just funny. I don't know. It's funny to me because, thinking back in my white belt days, all I ever wanted was for my coaches, all the coaches I've had, and like obviously I've only had a couple, but for the coaches that I've had, all I ever wanted was for them to see that I was getting better and that I was doing really well. So like I get it. I get it. They want to see, they want me to acknowledge they're doing well and acknowledge those things. And I love to teach. So again, my goal went from being that world beater that, I don't want to lose to anyone, all the way up to purple belt. I only got submitted 2 times ever. 2 times, all the tournaments I ever did. 2 times submitted. I lost by points a dozen times, but I only got submitted twice, all the way to my purple belt. So I'm pretty proud of it. And if that didn't sound like a great accomplishment, oh well. I was a blue belt for damn near 5 years because of the way my journey went. So I'd like to say it's a pretty damn good accomplishment. About 7 years of jiu-jitsu competition, submitted twice. So, hats off to Nate Fenton. Shout out Nate Fenton for breaking a rib and being one of the guys to submit me. But I don't know. It's a different thing. It's a different story. And it's a different life for everybody. All I'm trying to do is spread awareness. Do it for the right reasons, and good things will come of it. You just have to believe in what you're doing. You got to believe in yourself. And at the end of the day, one of the biggest things, and this is something I just recently said to another upper belt recently that's, doing their own thing. And it's just, this is your thing. If you run a gym, like if you're in the middle of nowhere or if you're in a big city, it doesn't matter. If you're running a gym and you're teaching your students how you're teaching them, whether it's the ecological approach or if it's drilling nonstop or if it's, showing multiple techniques a class, whatever the case may be, that's your money. That's your business. You built it. You're growing it. If people are there, they're there to learn. Do the best you can to, instill great values in them and great knowledge, great skill, and don't worry about what other people think. I struggled with that really bad. I always cared what people think, and I regret it. That's the one thing I regret the most. I used to really care what people thought of my like gym setup, what they thought of, the location, the colors of the mats and all that. Oh my gosh. If I could take it all back, the one thing I would do, I would have just not spent the money I did on my mat setup, and I would have just made more room, had more people, done more things. So chase the things that matter, not the things that people think you should be doing. Do your own thing, enjoy it, live those moments. There's highs and lows to this game. You're going to have the highest highs and the lowest lows, and it's going to come whether you want it to or not. You're never going to be on top, whether that's competition wise, whether it's gym size or success, whether it's having a gym, whether it's the friendships you've made in the gym. Those are all things I had to learn the hard way. And, props to Diego, my coach. I've obviously I've been with him since like, oh my gosh, 2016, like the end of 2015, beginning of 2016. And that the ever changing revolving door of jiu-jitsu gyms never hit me I never knew, I never understood it. And the respect I have for Diego for what he's, the number of students that he's seen come and go is crazy because I make genuine connections, and I know Diego does too. Excuse me. And it hurts me. It hurts me to see, my students that have left, and it sucks to not see them. It sucks to not be around them. It sucks to not to be their coach. It just to have them in my life was a blessing, and it's something that I didn't think about. It's something that I didn't expect to ever worry about. So, with that being said, anyone who's ever trained with me, under me, alongside me, whatever, I love you guys. Like legit. You guys are a part of my life. And I'm super thankful and super grateful that you gave me that chance and gave me, trusted me with those responsibilities to teach you and train you to protect yourself and also, be skilled jiu-jitsu practitioners. It's something I don't take lightly. And, maybe two of them will ever hear this. But till the day I die, we're connected in my eyes. So shout out to those people. You guys all know who you are. But yeah, the pressure for black belt was really high. The day I got it, no pressure, no weight on my shoulders, nothing. Is whatever. The second I left Virginia and came home, I had a nice flight, just hanging out. I had a delay. I sat in the flight for an extra 30 minutes. I had a 2-hour flight. And that whole time, all I could think about is what actually just happened and what it means to me and what it's going to mean moving forward. And, I hope everyone knows that I'll always do my best to make you guys the best I can. And if you guys ever need any help from me, whether it be helping teach, helping by doing a seminar, like I'm not a big cost seminar, you can make it donation based. You can make it, $30-$40. It doesn't matter. My goal is to help, and it'll always be to help, because I know that whenever I was coming up, that's what I wanted for me. So I want to help that new me that's out there get as far as they can. So if you're listening to this right now, you will succeed. You just got to keep moving forward. And you got to keep trying. And you got to keep taking chances. So work hard. You guys will get there. And if you don't, you don't. It's okay. This isn't something that you have to do and see all the way out to the end. If you just come to that blue belt, so be it. That's what you did. That's what you wanted. That's what you are. It's okay. The goal is to just keep pushing it forward, keep moving it forward, support your gyms, support your friends, share their posts, like their posts, let other people know that they're there, and just, help each other out. That's the goal. Yeah, that's all for today. Just wanted to get those out there. Like I said, I had some questions on how it felt, what was going on, and if I can explain what it was like to get that black belt. And all I can say is I'm still in shock. I don't even know. Some days I feel like I deserve it. Some days I don't. I think it's just the way it's going to be for the rest of my life. I'm very proud of it. It's very special, and I couldn't have asked for it from a better team. So I appreciate that. So for you guys who trained under me, for you guys who have trained alongside of me, for my coaches, and for my coach Diego Bispo, thank you for giving or taking that one chance.